The church doors burst open just as the organ swelled into the bridal march. And in stormed Sarah, her face twisted in a mix of fury and heartbreak, clutching a faded love letter from years ago. "Skylar, you can't do this," she shouted, her voice echoing off the stained glass windows, freezing the congregation in stunned silence. Skylar, the bride in her elegant white gown, turned pale as her fiancé Jamie's hand slipped from hers at the altar, the first crack in what was supposed to be their perfect day unraveling into chaos. Skylar had always been the architect of her own disasters, but this one felt inevitable. Growing up in a conservative suburb of Chicago, she'd learned early to hide her true self behind a facade of straight-A student and dutiful daughter. Her parents, devout Catholics with roots in the Midwest's heartland, had drilled into her the importance of family, tradition, and above all, appearances. But beneath that, Skylar's heart had always pulled her toward women, a secret she'd buried until college. Sarah was her first, met in a freshman literature class, where stolen glances turned into midnight confessions. Their relationship burned bright but brief, ending when Skylar's fear of her family's judgment forced her to ghost Sarah without explanation. Now here Sarah was, uninvited yet somehow compelled to show up after receiving that cryptic wedding invitation Skylar had sent in a moment of misguided closure. As the guests murmured, Jamie's eyes darted between Skylar and the intruder. "Who is she?" Jamie whispered, her voice sharp with betrayal. Skylar's mind raced. Why had she invited Sarah? And not just her but Taylor, Jordan, and Casey too? It was meant to be a bold step toward owning her past, a way to integrate the fragments of her life before committing to Jamie. But seeing Sarah now, with that letter waving like a flag of surrender, Skylar realized the invitations were less about closure and more about testing fate. Her parents, seated in the front row, exchanged horrified glances. Her mother clutched her rosary, lips moving in silent prayer. The minister cleared his throat, attempting to regain control. "Ladies and gentlemen, perhaps we should." But Sarah wasn't done. She marched down the aisle, her heels clicking like accusations. "You think you can just erase us, Skylar? Invite me to watch you marry someone else as if I was nothing." The words hung heavy, drawing gasps from the crowd. Jamie stepped back, her bouquet trembling. Skylar reached for her, but Jamie pulled away, the hurt in her eyes a dagger to Skylar's chest. In the ensuing pandemonium, ushers tried to escort Sarah out, but she resisted, her pleas turning to sobs. Skylar's father stood, his face red with anger. "What is the meaning of this, Skilarandra?" he boomed, using her full name like a weapon. Skylar felt the weight of every decision she'd ever made crashing down. This wasn't just about Sarah. It was the domino that would topple the rest. She had invited her exes thinking it would prove she'd moved on, but deep down, she knew it was a cry for validation, or perhaps sabotage. As security finally led Sarah away, Skylar turned to Jamie. "I can explain," she started, but Jamie's expression hardened. "Explain what?" "That you've got a parade of exes ready to ruin our wedding." The ceremony halted, guests whispering furiously. Skylar's mind flashed to Taylor, her college rebound after Sarah, the one who'd helped her explore her identity, but whom she'd left when family pressures mounted. Taylor was probably in the back row now, watching this unfold with quiet satisfaction. The reception hall, booked for later, loomed in Skylar's thoughts as a potential battlefield. But first, she had to salvage the ceremony. "Let's just get through this," she urged Jamie, but her fiancé shook her head. "No, Skylar. Not until I know everything." The minister suggested a recess, and the bridal party retreated to a side room, leaving the guests in awkward limbo. In the cramped vestry, Jamie confronted Skylar. "How many are there? And why invite them?" Skylar sank into a chair, the gown pooling around her like defeat. "For," she admitted, "Sarah was my first love. I thought inviting them would close those chapters." Jamie's laugh was bitter. Close them? Or reopen them? Skylar had no answer, only the gnawing regret of her choices. Her phone buzzed, a text from Jordan, her post-college fling, confirming arrival. The web she'd woven was tightening. Outside, Skylar's mother cornered her father. "I knew something was off with her. All those friends she never talked about. Their disapproval, rooted in generations of societal norms, fueled Skylar's inner turmoil. She'd come out to them years ago, but their acceptance was conditional. Jamie was respectable, from a good family. Inviting the exes threatened that fragile peace. As the group reconvened, Skylar made a decision. Proceed with the wedding, explanations later. But as vows were exchanged under strained smiles, she spotted Taylor slipping in late, her presence a silent storm cloud. The kiss at the altar felt hollow, Jamie's lips cold. The real drama, Skylar knew, was just beginning at the reception. The reception venue in downtown Chicago buzzed with forced cheer as guests mingled, clinking glasses to mask the earlier disruption. Skylar and Jamie cut the cake under flashing cameras, but the sweetness turned sour in Skylar's mouth. Taylor approached during the first dance, her smile sharp as a knife. "Congratulations," she said, hugging Skylar a beat too long. Jamie noticed, her grip tightening on Skylar's waist. Taylor had been Skylar's anchor in the chaotic post-college years, when Skylar moved to the city for a marketing job. They'd met at a Pride event, where Taylor's confidence drew Skylar out of her shell. But when Skylar's parents visited unexpectedly and caught them together, Skylar panicked, denying the relationship and pushing Taylor away. Now Taylor's eyes held that old wound. "Nice touch inviting the ghosts," she murmured. Skylar pulled back. "I thought it would help me move forward." Taylor scoffed. "By rubbing our faces in it." Jamie excused herself, heading to the bar, where she ran into Jordan. Jordan, with her athletic build and easy charm, had been Skylar's rebound after Taylor, a brief, intense affair during a work conference in New York. Jordan introduced herself to Jamie as an old friend, but her tone implied more. "Skylar has a way of collecting hearts," Jordan said casually, sipping champagne. Jamie's face tightened. "What do you mean?" Jordan shrugged. "Just that she's hard to forget." Back at the table, Skylar's parents grilled her. "Who were those women?" her father demanded. Skylar deflected. "Just friends from the past." Her mother leaned in. "Friends don't storm weddings, dear. Is there something you're not telling us?" The pressure built, echoing the years of subtle judgments. Hints about settling down properly. Questions about why she didn't date men anymore. Skylar felt the chasm between her authentic self and their expectations widening. As the night progressed, Casey arrived fashionably late, her entrance turning heads. Casey was the most recent ex, from just a year before Jamie. A passionate romance that ended when Skylar chose stability over the volatility Casey brought. Casey cornered Skylar in the hallway. "Why am I here, Skylar?" "To watch you play house." Skylar's voice cracked. "I wanted to show I've changed." Casey laughed harshly. "Changed? Or just hidden better?" The confrontations escalated. Sarah, who'd snuck back in, joined Taylor at a corner table, their whispers drawing Jordan and Casey like magnets. The four exes formed an unwitting alliance, sharing stories of Skylar's patterns, the sudden withdrawals, the fear-driven breakups. "She always chooses her family over us," Sarah said. "But look where that's gotten her." Jamie overheard snippets, her trust eroding. She pulled Skylar aside. "They're saying you broke their hearts because of your parents. Is that true?" Skylar nodded, tears welling. "I was scared. I didn't want to lose everything." Jamie's eyes softened momentarily, then hardened. "And now you're risking us for what? Closure?" The argument spilled into the open, guests pretending not to notice. Skylar's father intervened, pulling her into a heated discussion. "This is embarrassing the family. Whatever mess you've made, fix it." His words stung, reinforcing the societal chains she'd tried to break. Skylar realized her invitations weren't about healing. They were a subconscious rebellion against the conformity her family demanded. As toasts began, Taylor stood uninvited. "To Skylar, who taught me love isn't always enough." The room fell silent. Jamie slammed her glass down and stormed out, Skylar chasing after. In the parking lot, Jamie demanded answers. "Do you even love me? Or am I just the safe choice?" Skylar's hesitation was damning. "I do love you. But I've hurt so many to get here." The night ended in fragments. Exes departing with unresolved anger, parents disappointed, Jamie distant. Skylar lay awake in the hotel suite, alone, questioning every decision. The wedding had survived, but the marriage teetered on the brink. Tomorrow, the honeymoon loomed, but the real journey was confronting the fallout. The honeymoon in Hawaii started with azure skies and crashing waves, but the tension between Skylar and Jamie simmered like a storm on the horizon. On the flight, Jamie barely spoke, staring out the window at the endless ocean below. Skylar tried to bridge the gap. "We can talk about it now. No interruptions." Jamie turned, her eyes weary. "What's there to say? Your past invaded our future." Settling into the beachfront villa, Skylar unpacked while Jamie walked the shore alone. Skylar's phone buzzed with messages from her exes. Sarah's apology mixed with lingering hurt, Taylor's demand for closure. She deleted them, but the guilt lingered. Back home, her parents had left voicemails. "We need to discuss this properly. Family comes first." The words echoed the moral dilemma she'd faced. Choosing love over duty, authenticity over acceptance. That evening, over dinner at a seaside restaurant, Jamie finally opened up. "Tell me about them. All of them." Skylar hesitated, then poured out the stories. Sarah, the innocent high school crush that blossomed in secret, ended by Skylar's fear of outing herself. "I left her without a word. It broke me." Taylor, the empowering college love, shattered when parents visited. "I denied her to save face." Jordan, the passionate escape, cut short by career ambitions and societal whispers. "She wanted more, but I couldn't give it." Casey, the whirlwind that challenged Skylar's boundaries, abandoned for stability. "She saw through my walls, and that terrified me." Jamie listened, her expression shifting from anger to empathy, then back. "You invited them to prove something to yourself, didn't you? Not to me." Skylar nodded. "I thought if they saw me happy, it would validate my choices. But it just exposed the cracks." The conversation turned raw, Jamie admitting her own insecurities. "I feel like I'm competing with ghosts. And your family, they barely accept us as it is." The next day, a call from Skylar's mother interrupted their fragile peace. "Your father's upset. Those women at the wedding. It's not right. Think about what the neighbors say." Skylar's response was sharp. "This is my life, Mom. Not a performance." Hanging up, she felt a surge of defiance, but the damage was done. Jamie's mood soured again. They attempted sightseeing, hiking volcanic trails, but arguments flared. "You're still letting them control you," Jamie accused. Skylar countered. "And you're punishing me for my past." The push-pull mirrored Skylar's internal conflict. The desire for freedom versus the pull of familial bonds. Society's gaze weighed heavy, even in progressive Hawaii. Subtle stares at their held hands reminded her of the prejudices back home. Mid-week, Jamie suggested couples therapy via video call. The therapist probed deep. "Skylar, why invite the exes?" Skylar admitted. "To confront what I've lost. Each breakup was a betrayal of myself." The session unearthed Mouthwan Duk. Had Skylar's fear justified hurting others? Jamie shared her pain. "I feel like a consolation prize." The therapist urged accountability, but resolutions felt distant. A beach bonfire that night brought momentary truce. As flames danced, Skylar apologized. "I've paid for my cowardice with loneliness. But with you, I want to be brave." Jamie softened, but doubt lingered. "Brave enough to stand up to your family?" Skylar promised, but promises felt fragile. Returning to Chicago, the real world crashed in. Work emails piled up, but more pressing were the ex's lingering presences. Sarah texted about a chance encounter with Taylor, stirring old flames. Skylar ignored it, focusing on Jamie. Yet at a family dinner, her parents ambushed her. "We love you, but this lifestyle. And those women? It's confusing." Skylar exploded. "My lifestyle is who I am. And those women are part of my history." Storming out, she realized the cost of authenticity, potential estrangement. Jamie supported her, but the strain showed. "Is it worth it?" she asked later. Skylar's answer was firm. "Yes. For us." But as sleep evaded her, Skylar wondered if the awakenings were worth the wounds. Back in their Chicago apartment, the post-honeymoon glow faded into routine shadowed by unresolved tensions. Skylar returned to her marketing firm, burying herself in campaigns, while Jamie, a teacher, graded papers with distracted sighs. Evenings brought uneasy silences, punctuated by attempts at normalcy, cooking dinner, watching shows. But the ex's shadows loomed. One afternoon, Skylar ran into Jordan at a coffee shop downtown. "Fancy seeing you here," Jordan said, her smile wry. They sat, conversation turning inevitable. The wedding was eventful. Skylar apologized. "I hurt you. I was wrong." Jordan nodded. "It took time, but I moved on." "Have you?" The question stung, highlighting Skylar's ongoing struggle with self-acceptance. That night, Skylar confessed the encounter to Jamie. "Nothing happened, but it made me think." Jamie's jealousy flared. "Think what? That you miss them?" The argument escalated, Jamie accusing Skylar of emotional infidelity. "You invited them into our marriage." Skylar defended. "I'm trying to close doors, not open them." But the trust fracture deepened. Family pressures mounted. Skylar's sister called, relaying parents' concerns. "They're worried about you. And Jamie, is she really the one?" The subtle homophobia irked Skylar, fueling her determination to cut ties if needed. But the moral quandary gnawed. Abandon family for love, or compromise self. Meanwhile, the exes connected online, forming a support group of sorts. Sarah messaged Skylar. "We're not your enemies. But you owe us honesty." Skylar met them at a neutral bar, Jamie's reluctant blessing. The gathering was tense, stories of pain shared. "Taylor, you left me feeling worthless." "Casey, you chose safety over us." "Jordan, it was always about your image." "Sarah, I loved you first and you erased me." Skylar listened, tears flowing. "I was trapped by fear. Society, family, they made me choose." The women empathized but held firm. Choices have consequences. Leaving, Skylar felt unburdened yet raw. She confided in Jamie. Facing them was hard but necessary. Jamie softened. "Maybe we need to face our own issues." They sought therapy again, delving into Malthuan. The therapist challenged. "Skylar, your invitations were a betrayal to Jamie. Own that." Skylar did, the admission a turning point. But betrayal bred more. Jamie, in a moment of doubt, reached out to Casey, seeking insight. Casey's response: "Skylar runs when it gets real." Jamie confronted Skylar. "Is that true?" Skylar denied, but the seed planted. Arguments turned vicious, Jamie packing a bag one night. "I need space." Skylar begged, "Don't leave." Jamie's departure was a gut punch, echoing past abandonments. Alone, Skylar reflected on the costs. Lost love, strained family, now threatened marriage. She visited her parents, laying bare her truths. "I won't hide anymore." Her father's silence hurt, mother's tears a mix of love and loss. "We want you happy, but this." Skylar left, choosing self over approval. Days blurred. Jamie returned, but distance remained. "We have to decide if this is worth fighting for." Skylar nodded, the high stakes clear. Awakening came painfully, realizing her decisions ripple, damaging all. With Jamie back but on shaky ground, Skylar threw herself into mending. They attended couples retreats in the Illinois countryside, workshops forcing vulnerability. "What do you fear most?" the facilitator asked. Skylar: "Losing everything for being me." Jamie: "Being second choice." Revelations poured. Skylar's internalized homophobia from societal norms, Jamie's insecurities from past relationships. Work provided distraction, but a promotion offer in San Francisco tempted Skylar. "A fresh start?" she suggested to Jamie. But Jamie hesitated. Running again? The decision loomed, a test of commitment. Exes resurfaced indirectly. Taylor's social media post about moving on inspired Skylar, but Casey's call brought drama. "I saw Jamie talking to someone." Paranoia set in. Skylar accused Jamie. "Are you seeing someone?" Jamie denied hurt. This is what your past does, poisons us. The fight peaked, Jamie leaving again. In solitude, Skylar sought solace in therapy alone. I've betrayed everyone, including myself. The therapist probed. What price are you willing to pay for truth? Skylar realized, total honesty, even if it costs family. She confronted her parents at their home. Your judgments pushed me to hurt people. I can't live like that. Her father argued. We're protecting you from a hard world. Mother pleaded. Family sticks together. Skylar stood firm. Not at the cost of my soul. Walking out. Estrangement felt liberating yet devastating. Jamie returned, revelations in tow. I talked to Casey to understand you better. Nothing more. Reconciliation tentative, they rebuilt slowly. Dates, talks, intimacy reclaimed without rush. But society struck back. At a school event, Jamie faced whispers about their unconventional marriage. Kids ask questions, she confided. Skylar raged against prejudices, joining local LGBT groups for support. Activism awakened her, but added strain. A family crisis tested bonds. Skylar's father hospitalized with a heart scare. At the bedside, tensions flared. This stress from your choices, mother blamed. Skylar retorted. My choices? Or your refusal to accept? Father whispered. I love you. Try to understand. The moment softened barriers, but mending was gradual. With Jamie, high-stakes decisions arose. Accept the promotion? Together, Jamie decided. Packing for California, Skylar felt hope. But on moving day, Sarah appeared. One last goodbye. Closure granted, no lingering ties. In San Francisco, new beginnings beckoned. Yet old wounds scarred. Skylar pondered the ethics. Had her path justified the pain inflicted? Settling into San Francisco's vibrant hills, Skylar and Jamie embraced the change. The city's progressive vibe a balm to their battered spirits. Skylar's new role at the tech firm demanded focus, while Jamie found a teaching position in a diverse district. Weekends explored the Bay Area, hikes in Muir Woods, picnics by the Golden Gate, rebuilding trust brick by brick. But echoes of the past persisted. A letter from Skylar's mother arrived, tentative reconciliation. We miss you. Let's talk. Skylar responded cautiously, video calls bridging the gap. Her father, recovering, admitted faults. I was wrong to pressure you. The family dynamic shifted, acceptance budding from necessity. Exes faded into memory, occasional updates via social media showing their own healings. Sarah engaged, Taylor traveling, Jordan thriving, Casey writing a book on relationships. Skylar sent well wishes, no regrets voiced. Yet internal conflicts lingered. At a pride parade, Skylar marched with Jamie, but flashbacks to hidden loves haunted. Did I do right by them? She confided. Jamie reassured. You can't change the past, only learn. Therapy continued, unpacking layers of guilt and growth. Societal pressures evolved. Colleagues' subtle biases at work, neighbors' curious stares. Skylar advocated, speaking at panels on LGBT family dynamics. The cost of authenticity is high, but silence is higher. Her words resonated, but personal tolls mounted, sleepless nights questioning morality. A pivotal moment came when Jamie suggested starting a family. Adoption? Surrogacy? Skylar hesitated, fears resurfacing. What if I repeat patterns? Debates ensued, weighing ethics, bringing a child into a world still rife with discrimination. They decided yes, the choice a defiant affirmation. As paperwork progressed, Skylar reflected on the journey. Invitations that sparked chaos, confrontations birthing truth, betrayals forging strength. Losses, friendships, family harmony, balanced by gains, self-acceptance, deeper love. In a quiet evening overlooking the bay, Skylar asked Jamie, was it all worth it? Jamie smiled. Every scar. But as the story closes, one question remains. In the pursuit of personal truth, is it ever justifiable to inflict pain on those we love, or does the greater good demand we bear our burdens alone?